Welcome to yet another DuskBreakers Community AMA. My name is Bernie Sue, the Chief Content Officer here on the DuskBreakers Now verified Twitter account, joined today by my usual co-hosts, Jason and Joshi. And we got a lot of great stuff coming in today, so I'm going to throw it right to Joshi, who's already unmuted, typing away, punching keys. Fill us in, man. What do you got?
Hello, everybody. It's been a few weeks since we've been on here for a community update. We did have to delay from last Thursday because actually Bernie and Jason and a bunch of others were in person meeting up and hashing out a bunch of stuff for the upcoming next collection. And now that we've said the word minigame on social, the next minigame that will be attached. So we deferred to this week so we could have another, cadence on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Pacific. And this actually sets us up nicely because NFT NYC is next week, and we would not be able to do that Thursday AMA either as we would like to. So new schedule, same as the old one, just delayed a week. So the next AMA will be June 30th. If you're just joining us or if you're newer to the project, we do these every 2 weeks, and every other AMA we bring on a guest and interview them. So Alicia Lee with Rosebud AI was the last one. This time it's just us here at the DuskBreakers team. You got Bernie, Jason, and myself hosting, but we've got a few of the other staff listening in as well. We may be able to call up if needed, but updates is what you're all here for. And then, of course, asking us questions. We like to kind of get through a recap of things that we've done recently, and then toward the end, you can ask your questions. You can actually ask on discord.gg/DuskBreakers as well. We have an AMA chat channel that you can go write out some questions, and then maybe we can prepare a little bit before the end of the hour, but looking to run about an hour. Okay, so here we go. We've had a couple of social posts recently that showed off some of the traits, such as the floating face shield. We talked about the armed drones a month or two ago. That was we've now called them the Buds, B-U-D, or Buddy, B-U-D-E, which I think is hilarious. But we're basically informing our holders and people interested in the project more about the official lore and canon. We're fleshing out, actual nailed down details about our game and world. The very interesting one this week was the Hunter drone social drop. And Bernie, since you're on the writing team and you're, very much responsible for the Hunter drone, whereas I just posted it, I will pass it to you to talk a little bit about those traits that we've been posting and the Hunter drone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something where kind of first going with the traits, tying the traits to lore and what is in the world of DuskBreakers. You've seen in previous mini games how traits can, not all of them do, can affect gameplay. But as you see with your PFPs, they can potentially mean something in the story world. So as we either determine that or feel that it's the right time to reveal certain things, we're starting to roll that out. Going to the Hunter drone, or the scary looking Bud, we want to call it that. That's something that we're going to see in the upcoming minigame as one of the new, we'll call them antagonists of the experience. And if you see the image, it's on the Twitter. You can just check it out, or you can go to any of the social media posts over there. But just describing exactly what it looks like. It looks like one of your drones, your PFP drones, but it's got red crystals kind of protruding out of it. It looks pretty violent, can do some things, and it's quite a formidable adversary with the game experience. So it's something unique to this specific minigame, and we're very excited to let you guys play and battle or avoid this menacing looking creature. So yeah.
Yeah, so now we've revealed, so there's a minigame. There's obviously the second collection has been touted for a while. We did announce since the last AMA that we are pushing slightly. Q2 was our intended goal for the second collection this entire time. Quality over release date really is the decision made to move to mid-July now for that second collection. But the Hunter drone is the first sort of concept, the first time we've shown something that wasn't in that original collection, right? So very cool to see new things hitting the timelines now, and we do hope to keep dropping more treats. Obviously, a very big treat would be the mini game that's coming up soon anyway. Before we get to that, Jason actually has a bit of detail for that minigame stuff, but we do want to talk about NFT NYC. I mentioned just a moment ago. Next week, June 21st through 23rd, is NFT NYC. It will actually be my first NFT or Web3 convention after being at like 100, E3s, PAXs, gaming tournaments. I'm very excited to try something new here. Bernie, myself, Jason, Adam will be around. We've got a couple of locals in New York as well that are going to come hang out, and we've actually managed to book a portion of a restaurant, Victor's Cafe, in New York City, in the area, for 6 to 8 p.m. local time on Tuesday, the 21st. And that is for any holders or anyone listening here. Let us know, obviously, if you do intend to come swing by. Let us know on Discord. We'd love to obviously have a head count so we can work around, inviting more people if necessary. But we've got space for about 40 people. We've got appetizers, drinks, and such for a 2-hour drop-in sort of event. Nothing super formal. Come in, pick our brains, talk about other projects, whatever you want to do. Partners, friends, holders, all welcome at the NFT NYC event. Again, that is 6 to 8 p.m. local time, June 21st at Victor's Cafe. It will be in the Havana room reserved for DuskBreakers. So just FYI, if you're going to be attending those events, obviously we don't expect a ton of, the few listeners we have. But if you do let us know, then perhaps we'll have some special things for the people who do show up as well. Maybe some future things as well. So definitely if you are in the area, whether you have an event badge or not, you still could come attend our little drop-in event. So NFT NYC, otherwise, we will not have a booth or any speaking panels or anything like that. We are mostly going for the networking and educational aspects of the show. There are parties as well. So beyond our little drop-in, some of our partners like Crypto Walkers and Shonen Junk are also having some events. So I'm very excited to meet some of the guys we've been working with online for last few months, and they've got very strong projects. So that will just continue to reinforce our allies, our posse of Web3 game enthusiasts. I love it. So I'm very excited. Now we are going to give it to Jason, and he's got a lot to talk about because, as I mentioned, the whole team met up last week in person and hashed out a bunch of this stuff. I was unfortunately unable to attend that, so Jason's got the 411, the scoop, and I'm not really sure how we want to set this up. I guess Minigame is obviously the thing that people are tuning in to learn more about, but Jason, I'll hand it to you now to take it from here.
Hooray. Thanks, Joshy. Thanks, Bernie. So I have a lot of, like Joshy was leading in here, there's a lot of detail. And it's still very topical. Like we're not going to give away all the good details of what's coming up, but I do want to prepare everybody in a certain way to wrap your heads around, what we've been up to. So first and foremost, I like to start by saying that, what we've been up to all this time, and really what's leading up to, really in mid-July here, but some steps along the way are, building. That's everybody says it, but in this space, but like really, we're building, quality experiences. We've been building composable experiences, always with utility, and always kind of trying to be as innovative as possible. I almost did the like British thing where you say innovative. And so what we have coming up is today is roughly June 16th. So in about 2 weeks is really where we'll be landing a lot of the information about our upcoming second mint and more details about the minigame. But actually, one of the things that our game development team was able or are proposing to us, and we've been working on, is the ability to get a early access play test for our Genesis DuskBreaker holders. That we're hopeful to land next week. The staff is actually in a play test starting today over the weekend to provide feedback, some feedback on the mini game as it continues to be polished towards readiness for its more so full launch of this mini game in mid-July. But we thought it would be, as part of providing holders, Genesis DuskBreaker holders, a great experience for being a holder, for being around, and buying Genesis Breakers and being a part of the community. We're going to offer this a play test, hopefully starting next week. And Josh and I will be doing this on the fly from New York City, but we hope to bring that to you, a little sneak peek of that, and ahead of the full launch. So let's talk about what that looks like. So like I said, about 2 weeks, so roughly here by the end of this month, we'll have a couple of, we'll drop some information to get everybody ready. And what does that information look like? What we're pointing at here is the second collection plus the minigame go hand in hand. These are the minigame is a companion to the second collection. This is a big release for us as we're delivering new experiences around our game development and composability. We're in Web3. NFTs can offer composability, and we're certainly leaning into that. So the minigame in the second collection. So when you mint a second collection NFT in July, whether you're on our, what we would be doing is allow lists, whether you're a holder who's going to get a free claim, you'll be minting what will be a future, as we mentioned before, a future game asset. In this case, in July, it'll be in its earliest stage. So what does that mean? So we'll call this an evolutionary track. That's what composability allows. So what we're going to call this phase is going to be called play to level. And that's we're not per se coining the term, but I think it's apropos to sort of things we've done before with play to mint. And I think this one will be more like play to level. So in this first phase, the game asset itself will not yet be a playable character, but what you're doing is you're building your player, your game asset, your playable character for the future. So at this stage, when the mini game launches, so if you play this companion mini game weekly over the course of a defined play period, so this will be a few weeks to several weeks, you will earn points on a weekly basis that will be applied to the eventual evolved version of the playable NFT game asset. So that when our big F2, our free to play with play and earn mechanics game drops in, and it's in the fall here, you will then have a playable game asset that will be multiple levels higher than what a base game asset will be at that time. So again, this is a limited period play. Probably something like 4 or 5 weeks, maybe 6, of where you're going to be accumulating points again, and it will lead to the evolution and or strength and all that kind of stuff that your eventual playable character will be able to take into the game. So thus this play to level period begins again when the second collection drops. So those who mint right away and jump into play are going to give themselves the best chance to max your playable, eventual playable NFT when that big game launches again. And so this is why, when we mentioned previously, we need a couple of extra weeks. We're making sure our systems and processes are in place to take in these point systems, and to deliver, this experience all the way through from here in July, and soon to be in July all the way through September, October, when the big game launches.
Hey, Jason.
So, yeah.
Before you go too far, can I just do a quick recap of everything there?
Yeah. I was recapping, but go ahead, you do it.
Oh, okay. So just to kind of reiterate everything Jason said. So kind of in timeline, what you're going to see for holders is a mini game. We'll call it a mini game test for holders coming up for the next mini game. That mini game is tied to the next collection, which is a game asset, which will be coming in the subsequent weeks. When the new NFT collection / game asset drops, the mini game you'll be playing to level up that new collection asset, going toward what the asset will be used you'll be leveling up over weeks, and that asset will eventually be used in the bigger game, which is coming up in the fall. We'll call it that range. Correct, Jason?
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Yeah. I had to fall to lose it all. Yeah, in the fall.
Yeah. So those, just to kind of not go too far, we have a lot to go over. Just want to, if anybody wants to just throw a question in, anything like that, we'll just keep going. We got a lot. So, but one thing I just want to point out that everything we're doing here is very deliberate and synergized. The intention is to synergize it all together. So we're not just dropping mini games to drop mini games. We're not just dropping collections to drop collections. Everything is connected to each other to create a true kind of, you want to call it transmedia, you want to call it metaverse, you want to call it synergized experience where everything's connected together. Your breakers, your second collection, the minigame experience, which is going to be a very different experience than the previous games. So it's not just hey, we got the Beast Battler and the Play to Mint game or the classic game were kind of similar. This one is it has elements of similarity, we'll say, but it is very different. It is a far superior experience. I think I could say honestly that from what we've seen and what we've played, even just the one day. But yeah. Okay, throwing back to Jason. Go for it.
Nope, that was great. Yeah, and just I guess to tack on there, like so when we get to this to August and the activities happening there in September, again, like Bernie was saying, that these things are this. I feel like we should have bingo cards to do, and then synergy, and everybody wins bingo. But yes, there will be synergized. There'll be more. Again, the big game itself will also have companion experiences, such that that these things are again all tied together, all feeding off of each other to have the most immersive experience, at least as far as the games are possible. And a lot of the content that Bernie and his team are also creating are companions to this as well. The webcomics, there's other experiences being created as we go here. So you can just imagine how many different arcs of work are happening to land this. It's not to say that we're creating the MCU here per se, but definitely a lot of arcs of work happening in order to make all these experiences and these games and the mints feel extra special, because I think that's what you do when you're building and you're really trying to make a difference in the space. That's what we're after, is the best experience people can possibly have in this space. And I think we're delivering on it, as we have in the past with some of the mini games, our play to mint, now this play to level, and more to come. Certainly a lot to look forward to. And the only thing I guess I'll add to the end of that is to say, this will mean, from a marketing perspective, as the head of marketing, certainly there are going to be multiple marketing points. Here in the lead up to July, we'll work with some of our great partners who we've worked with before on some of their projects in order to boost their projects. Our friends like, in the past we've done things with Crypto Walkers and Zoo Friends, and certainly we'll be reaching out to those folks. We have some influencers in mind. But all along the way here, a big part of who we are and what we look for is authenticity. So we always look to form relationships first and know who we're dealing with. And so we'd like to see like-minded teams, build teams that are builders, and, influencers who are thoughtful about what they work with. And we want to make sure we do this the right way with the right teams and people. So you'll see that here in June and July, and then again how we work along the way, all the way through our big release and beyond. So that's all part of this big, fun adventure that is DuskBreakers. So I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I know that we're going to have questions and more from the community, so I'll look forward to that part of our discussion here. Do you guys want to add on to that?
Clearly, there's a lot of information there. Genesis breaker holders getting an immediate benefit is cool. We got a whole new experience. You did mention it's going to be a much different thing. I think Bernie actually said it, but it's going to be a much different thing than our previous minigame offerings, because our headcount is like quadruple what it was for the team actually making the game. So if you keep that in mind and, keep your expectations in line with how much we've grown and the cool things we're capable of now compared to December, I think you'll get excited, as we are currently checking it out internally. So did you say a specific date, Jason, or method?
So the date here is just imagine in a couple of weeks, what we should have for you are more defining details around the actual mint date and opening of this upcoming minigame companion, that goes with the mint to play to level. So all those dates will start to be more clear here in just a couple of weeks. While we're finishing the details, making sure our tech is ready, and we have that firm date. It should definitely be in July, and everybody's on board. All hands on deck are working towards that, and then myself and Joshi, Julia, and others will be making sure that, for example, there will be the FAQ will be updated. There will be a web page of information. We'll have on social media, we'll also have some companion literature to all of this to make sure that everyone who's part of our community and wants to be part of our community will be able to take place, because this is definitely like for everyone. This new companion game itself will be free to play, but obviously if you're a holder of the second collection NFT, you will definitely you'll get those points going to level for the future. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover there.
Cool.
Yeah. So no hard date yet, everyone. Keep listening on the socials and the Discord, and we'll get you all informed as we go.
Yeah, and if we have something before, if we know before those dates and we have an idea, we'll update folks as we go. So just to make sure that everyone knows that we're not being clandestine for the sake of being sneaky. We're really making sure that we have, when we set a date, we've pushed it once. We don't want to necessarily push it twice, and then and what that looks like. So we're just making sure that we tighten all the screws here.
Cool. So with all that information in mind, I see a couple of questions have come in through Discord, but some of you listening may have questions as well. We do have just a couple more things that we can talk about before we move on to questions. And the big one, actually, that I realize now is the webcomic that we were talking about in the last AMA as coming soon, but now it is actually a couple of issues in. And Bernie, would you like to talk to us about that brand new webcomic that you can see at duskbreakers.gg/comic?
Absolutely. I mean, the webcomic is something that we've been talking about for months. It's just as a team, and it's just one of those things where it's a bit of a lift, and we're really proud of it. Gears has been putting the webcomic on his back, and he's been cranking it out. We're 2 weeks in, 2 episodes in. You can see them as Joshi said at duskbreakers.gg in the Allure webcomic area. There, 2 issues, couple awesome, and right now they're all being done by Gears, who's listening and working on episode or issue 3. Slight apologies for getting 3 out, but you'll have it this week. And you can dive into that. One of the cool things is you can see in the comic is that we are starting to feature our canonical breakers, meaning that the way we're looking at this is that every breaker that you see, not every breaker, but so far, and the current plan is that every breaker that you see in the comic is an actual breaker and numbered. So you can, it's kind of a thing where, again, we're trying to synergize, going back to the bingo word. Hope you guys won. But it's synergizing that together. So the 2 breakers that are kind of the 2 main characters right now, it doesn't mean they're always going to be main characters, are 2 that are, just to be transparent, are owned by Dustech or owned by Metatheory. So we have those 2. But one breaker is Eddie's breaker. Literally, Eddie, who's listening, I see him here. What up, Eddie? His breaker is has already made an appearance. There'll be another breaker making another appearance that is not owned by us. So that is something that we have talked about in the early days as well, and we are executing on that. Took a little longer than I hoped we could do it, but hey, we're doing it. It's fun, it's awesome, and as a storyteller who's driving a lot of this, I'm really, really happy and proud that we're doing it this way. It feels very Web3. It feels like something that is against or like non-traditional in that, where the storyteller kind of controls and owns and operates everything. So that's something that's kind of cool that we're doing right now. And another thing we kind of did too was we were able to like we'll call it tangentially connect Eddie the player's success in the simulations into canonical data events into the story world. So anyway, yeah, you'll see for yourself. in there, and you can, if you were looking at the history of the leaderboards from the Beast Battlers and so forth, you can kind of connect that thread there, which is something that was really important to us. And just so you know, like Eddie and the next breaker we're featuring in the next issue are basically the first two of the first breakers we ever canonicalized. So not saying we're going to go in order the rest of the way through, but the idea is, you know, if we're gonna make a breaker canon, we want to use them. It may not be in this comic, it may not be in a soon comic, but the idea is that they're out there, part of the world, and so that's something that we're doing here. And also, of course, the comic, if you haven't guessed this yet with the synergy angle, is that the comic will drive narratively to at least touch parallel to what's going on in the new minigame, in the second collection, and eventually to the big game. So all of this is, again, very deliberate in our story design across our franchise. And it's just a different way of looking at it, I think. And as we've looked at other collections across the board, not saying that we're doing it better, we're just doing it this way. This is the way we've designed it, where we're looking at it from a franchise point of view of, hey, everything is connected together as well as we can. Gameplay, story, lore, collections, interactivity, all that together. So keep looking out for comics, more to come. And yes, very excited about that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it as like pillars, basically supporting. If the project is like a plate that we don't want to fall, we keep adding these pillars and they keep going up together. That's the comic, the mini game, the second collection. Everything that we can do to support the project from multiple spots, I think is really cool. And to touch on something Bernie said there with Eddie, the canonized breaker that Eddie earned, this is important. He didn't just buy it, right? Like he actually earned a breaker through participating in our community and the minigame contests and things like that. So
wait. Slight correction there. Eddie actually had it from day one. It's Conut who earned it through participation, I believe. So
Eddie won canonization. Sorry, yes.
Yes, he won canonization. He did win
what
canonization.
I meant, yeah, he earned. So he did buy his, but he earned the canonization. So he didn't just buy it, but he bought it and participated. There we go. Kona did actually win an NFT from us, and it was his first NFT, and that will be canonized. So that's another awesome entry. But really the point is Eddie did something to get it, right? He came in and participated and did extremely well in our mini games, obviously. But we want to reward that, right? Like we want to reward entering our contests, writing stuff, playing games, being ever present. And the more times you attach with us, the more likely you're going to maybe see part of yourself in our story down the line. So that's just a cool aspect of it. It's not like we just arbitrarily selected some breakers and Eddie happened to own it, right? So that's a cool attachment, I think. So now we've kind of gotten through, I'm just checking our checklist here. We got webcomics, traits, hunter drone, contest update. Oh, yes. So we have the current contest happening right now. I think if you're listening to this AMA live, you're probably already familiar with it, but we have a contest right now to play the classic mode. And this is to get everyone basically ready to play this next minigame experience. We want you to make a Dusk Tech ID, interact with the website, make sure you're able to connect your wallet. You don't need an NFT to play or participate. But we are currently giving away 3 NFTs. 3 different winners will also get 500 USDC each by playing the minigame and posting their scoreboards, their screenshots, either on Discord or on Twitter. That information can be found on our Discord in announcements or on Twitter if you scroll down just a little ways. But that is running until Sunday at noon on Pacific time. So if you haven't entered yet, try to break a score of 25,000. Post a scoreboard screenshot following the directions in the contest, and then on Sunday we will be selecting all those winners. You can also get allow list for our next collection. So previously contests have given around 100 allow lists per contest. I think this time we've already gotten over 250 submissions, which is awesome. You guys are great. Keep playing and keep, troubleshooting, sending us reports if you have issues, anything like that is all helping us lead to stronger products in the future. So we may give several hundred allow lists if you guys keep playing and sharing and posting those scoreboards. This is going to be a larger collection than 10,000, obviously, because we have already promised 10,000 to Genesis Breaker holders, 1-to-1 matches, and also people have been winning allow lists, so clearly there's hundreds to thousands more to go. So you guys continue to participate. We are only going to have a couple more opportunities like this before the second collection is here. So if you want to get your foot in the door in an easy way, fun way, get attached to the project now. That contest ends Sunday. Get into the Discord announcements, and you can see all the information there.
I have a question hand up from Discord. Is that, are we ready to go to those?
Yeah, I think so. The last bullet was NFT NYC, which we already discussed. So.
Awesome. I'm going to invite to speak Julian, or Jay the Luminist. You're going to be speaking from Discord, but everybody can hear you. Go ahead, Jay, or Julian. You can unmute.
Yes, I just have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Yes, so I tried logging in to play the game recently, and when I reset my password, the back end is not working to actually reset my password. I get the link to my email, and then I try resetting the password to log in and play, and then it won't work.
I'm curious, are you trying the launcher when you try to log in with that new password, or is it even letting you recover? The launcher has a small login issue right now.
Yeah, I sign in with my MetaMask and everything, and then when I go to enter the password, I forgot it. I don't remember what I entered. So when I hit forget password, I get it sent to my email. But when I go and try to change the password, it gives me an error after I try to set a new password.
I would say thank you for that report, but for now, just make a brand new free account. The MetaMask should work with a new account just in case. So that you can get credit for the contest, I would just do that. But yeah, unfortunately, the launcher has had a small login issue where if you played multiple times and open and close it, it can prevent you from logging in. The web player should be good. Recover password. This is the first time I'm hearing an issue there, so we'll try to get you hooked up. If you want to drop that information on Discord, also we can help you out.
Question there: if he's playing on a launcher and that's an issue, can he just reset it through WebGL?
The web player should work, but he doesn't have his password, so this sounds like a slightly different issue. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Yep. No, that was my question.
Thanks for asking the question. Really appreciate it. Cool.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right. Go ahead, Joshy.
So we do the AMA chat channel on Discord does have quite a lineup of questions, so we can start kind of from the top there. If you are listening on Discord or Twitter, obviously you can put your hand up and we can see that and we can prioritize you over the past questions, but we'll go ahead and start at the top of that list. We did get a big influx of new people. We actually crossed 15,000 followers on Twitter and got very close to 10,000 in Discord, but we did actually just purge some inactive accounts from a long time ago, so we got to get back to 10K again. But lots of new people asking some questions. First up is Mikhail Kim. Actually asks 4 questions, but I think they're going to be pretty easy to answer. One is, did you finish your main play-to-earn game, or is it still developing? I think if it was done, you would know. It's still coming in the fall. 2 is when we can have rough data or screenshots of main game. So again, this minigame experience for the second collection was our priority over the course of May and June, cranking out the best experience for what is essentially a gamified pre-reveal of the assets that will be used in the main game. So the Hunter drone posted as a concept art this week. You can expect more concepts and things like that. We do want to continue posting previews. The main game is still just a bit far at the moment. So lots and lots of decisions still being made daily on that, art revisions, all that sort of stuff. But the next minigame is nearly complete. So we are starting to show you guys that, as well as the upcoming playtest that we mentioned. Number 3, how A16Z or other funds help you? That is a question that I cannot possibly answer myself alone, but hiring obviously is a very big one. We are currently hiring. If you go to DuskBreakers.gg, let me find the exact link for you. But we are hiring quite a few positions. I know that engineers are actually quite sought after right now as well. But that page It's under About Careers, but the website is jobs.lever.co/metatheory. And there's currently 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 20 roles open to apply for. Game development, finance and accounting, art, operations, project management, software development. Tons of categories there. So the A16Z funds give us runway, right? Like it's when crypto's down, we got USD.
It's a lot of things, right? I mean, they're in, A16 is our lead investor in our seed round. They're an advisor. We work with them. They're partners in that area. So it's kind of just like any other good lead investor in a round where, yes, they are putting resources in, but it's not just cash. It's resources and connections and experience and expertise and wisdom and all those things that hopefully continues to elevate us amongst our peers.
Jason, any more 2 cents about A16Z funding helping us out?
Yeah, just there's so many. Like Bernie said it, you said it. Hiring is definitely one. You build the team out. 2 is people often ask about marketing. Then we're going to spend money in marketing. That's a fair part of the budget. Creating content, Bernie can tell you, like some of our aspirations of the content that we create is it costs money, and just building games in general costs money. So like all those things are the reason why we raised and why we're building, build. So that's where the money's going.
An interesting observation for those of you in crypto, and I see like, Chris is on here and everything. It's like you have these collections. If you kind of roll back the clock, right, and you say, oh, in December we sold the 10,000 NFTs, and at the time with the ETH prices, what they were, it was like $3 million in revenue at the time, right? And you go like, oh my god, that's a lot of money, and so forth. I'll tell you one thing. It's like if we only had that, we would not be anywhere close to where we are right now. It's like I think if you're out there looking at other collections and so forth, it's like that's what I'm seeing too, and my kind of like, oh, like we need all of this to just like make this stuff happen at a high quality, at speed, in time. So it's so much more. It's not we're not just selling NFTs and then making stuff off of that revenue. It's like it's that and our raise and our connections and our resources all together to create and build this thing. We'll call it the castle with one brick at a time. So it's a lot more complicated than just, hey, sell NFTs, make game, right? So anyway, I continue.
Yeah, great answers, everybody. So thank you for the question, Mikhail. Last one from him was, give us a hint what next NFT collection will be. And we did just mention a little bit about that with Jason on the spiel there. The second collection will be a game asset ultimately, but the first part of it will be 4 to 6 weeks of play to level sort of experience with an attached mini game. So I'm not going to tell you what the NFT is yet. You will see it shortly, soon enough. So keeping you always wanting more is definitely a marketing tactic, but we also, want to keep you in suspense a little bit, keep the hype going into the actual first playtest and things like that. Obviously, once the playtest is here, it'll be essentially public knowledge because our Breaker Genesis holders, there's thousands of them. We can't control them all. We don't know who they all are. They're going to post stuff, and we're not going to be able to, once it's out of the bottle, everyone will know. So we're going to keep pacing ourselves here appropriately. Thank you for those questions, Mikhail. I actually see he just typed something. He says, I have more questions. Okay, we'll get down there. We got a few in a row here still. Next question is from Boss Bierny, who I recognize as being On-Chain Monkeys PFP in our server previously, but now he's changed it to the DuskBreakers hero art. So we've converted him a little bit. But he's asking how many team members now and some notable hires, ? So I actually have a slide from that we used internally this week, but I don't mind sharing. I can't show you visually, so I'll just talk you through it. But we have essentially a grand total of 45, let's say, permanent or semi-permanent employees. There are a lot of contractors, small gigs, things like that. People still under evaluation, but we'll say the term, the number 45. And the staff count is actually around the world. So we have 19 of those are in USA, 16 are in Taiwan, 3 actually split time between USA and Taiwan. We have Philippines, Pakistan, Sweden, China, Hong Kong, and India as well. So artists, engineers, developers all over the world. It does make logistics interesting, but thanks to Style Piggy, Nelson, Nick on the game team, just all hours dedicated to the project. Everything is going great. I really appreciate all their hard work with the language barriers, because they're just so talented and we need them, and we need to be able to direct and get proper product out of people that's difficult to communicate with globally. So I'm very happy that we've got an international team running well. And we also have breakdown by department a little bit. So creative is the bulk of those 45 employees right now at 26, 10 engineers, and then the rest kind of split between executives, marketing, and operations. So that's hopefully a solid answer there for Boss Bjarni. Notable hires, still just, an artist here and there, an engineer here and there, but they've all got their pedigrees or they've impressed us, and we're eager to start working with everyone that comes on board. Next question is from Oh No Not Joe. It says, will there be any new weapons or abilities added to the gameplay? And I'm just going to say yes. Hunter drone, we've revealed, is kind of an antagonist, and we've never messed with a hunter drone before, right? So you're going to need potentially some new ways to deal with that. But the minigame will be, I tweeted the teaser a little bit earlier today. It's going to be on a, quote, whole nother level than the boss battler and the classic mode. So there will definitely be new things, exciting things in the gameplay for the next minigame.
Yeah, I would just add quickly to the just kind of giving a little more specifics. It's like when you played the original minigame, you basically you're just walking and you're dashing and you're shooting when you're breaking, I guess, right? There's definitely more for you as a player to do than that, more controls, put it that way. And I'll leave it at that.
Sick. Yeah. It's much more complex. It's going to be great. Next question. Meet D. Lou, who is one of our Vanguard, one of our regulars. I see you listening now. What are some goals from the team as you all head to NFT NYC? Any projects or teams you are looking forward to connecting with in person? Time to meet with investors? Individual goals would be fun to hear about as well. So I talked about mine just a little bit ago, saying it was going to be my first NFT convention. We are going to be talking, Crypto Walkers, Shonen Junk, bunches of others that we've only talked to online. I'm excited to meet. Bernie or Jason, any addition to that?
Well, knowing that Adam's going to be there, I'm confident he's going to be talking to some business development, whether it be investors or not. So there's that. I'm really excited to meet other creators for sure, in the space, and kind of learn from that area. And I think, totally honest, I'm really excited for our event. I want to meet you guys. Those of you who are going to be there, I really want to just say hi and just thank you guys in person for supporting us, and just have fun, hang out, and talk some alpha maybe. Who knows, right? So I'm really, really excited about that. Honestly, before COVID, going to conventions, I would always jam my schedule with all these meetings and go, hey, I'm going to do this, and make that. I haven't done that yet. I'm just what's on my schedule is stuff that we are doing internally. And as Josh alluded to, there are team members in New York that I have not met in person. Really excited to meet them that I've worked with, and I've worked with over Google Meets and Zoom. So I'm really excited to meet them and get to know them better. And I'm really excited to meet you all. So if you're going to be in New York or around New York, please come to our event. Jason?
Yeah, so I would say that networking, clearly, go to a couple sessions and glean how other teams are working in the space, and potentially, look for partnerships there. Always co-marketing is a great way to get name out there and support other great projects, and definitely to meet the community. That's something that I've been putting together for a bit, and excited to have this happen. Thankful to Kathy on our team for making it so, because it's always great to I did a lot of community things at Twitch, and so this is second nature to me. I'd really love to meet the people who interact with us and want to be with us through the future. So that's going to be great. Those are my simple things.
Awesome. Yeah, I've never met Jason or Bernie in person. not to mention everyone else. Like, I have met Kevin Lin and Nick and JT just coincidentally in the past decade multiple times, but not everyone. I haven't met everyone, so it's going to be great. Next question is actually a tougher one that I do not have an answer for. It is any perspective or inspiration from team leaders who've had to build and weather through previous bear market cycles. And so I'm curious, Delu asked the question, it's a toughie. Bernie or Jason, any perspective or inspiration from leaders who've had to build through bear markets?
Go ahead, Jason, please.
I would actually say that if you I remember sort of the last one was, people referenced 2008. And so close enough to that was the time when Justin TV was coming, was in business roughly, I believe. And so Kevin had joined that team, in order to build Twitch around that time. Twitch's 2011 was really the coming out for that from spinning out of Justin TV. So Kevin had actually built Twitch sort of in a similar time period of after some unrest in the business market. So he's had those, that's why it's so great to have Kevin as our CEO, that he's been through some of these times before, and he's seen kind of how you go about it. And especially if you think about Twitch, like building this massive hardware dependent business at that time. This is pre-Amazon. So Twitch did a lot to build its own hardware stacks around the world to serve all this live video and chat, and how hard it is to raise money in those times for such a business. When people were really still struggling to figure out, like, is this, what is this thing? Sure, it's a huge almost household name these days. But back then it was a very small thing, and could have faltered at any time, really. Again, money can be tough to come by, and yet they made it work.
Excellent answer. I think, unless Bernie has more to add,
that's a way better answer than I would have said. Yeah. But I one thing that's good for us is that look, it's a little fortunate. We closed our funding round before this kind of downturn, so we have the assets in the bank to build for a while. We're not, as I've said before, for kind of our ethos as DuskBreakers. Sure, we do look at our floor price, the price of ETH, of course, as anyone does, but we're not obsessed about it. We're not pushing floor price. We're not like telling you, hey, go sweep it or don't. And we're not like, bullhorning that all this volume is happening. We're just building. And if you want to come in, great. If you need to sell for whatever reason, because of your personal reasons or whatever, cool. It's a free market. That's the whole spirit of this thing. But we are in this to build for the long haul, and hope if you're listening to this, I hope you're part of this, and thanks for being along for the ride.
Yeah, that reminds me of just a couple months ago, where now we are starting to release things and talk about mini games and second collections. I would say in February and March it was a lot quieter. It was like, what are you guys doing out there? And we were still hiring, so we didn't have anyone to build things yet. But now we are getting to that point, and we're just gonna make our games and universe, and whoever's along for the ride can join us because we're gonna be playing it. So I'm happy with floor price. Just being healthy is great. We have never tapped anyone to do anything, so the fact that the interest is there organically is pretty awesome. And after the funding round, obviously the floor went up, and that's expected. Now with the bear market, it's going down. It's going to happen. We're not stressing it, as Bernie said. So let's move on to the next question. This one is from Telepusic007, a holder on our AMA chat on Discord. Says, when will the drop of the second collection of game characters, and how will the process be regulated so that there would not be high inflation and the owners of the Genesis collection did not feel at a loss due to the fact that they bought expensive characters? Will there be noticeable benefits for Genesis owners beyond dropping items from the upcoming collection? So, without
great question. This is a
giving
question.
Everything away. Yeah, we can't give everything away, right? We do want breakers to have benefit. Obviously, the story, webcomic, Eddie, canonization, stuff that we touched on earlier is a massive, cool thing. But just for every breaker out there, getting the next collection as a free claim is step number one. What the breaker means for the next collection is still unrevealed. What the breaker means for the game in the fall is still unrevealed. We have breakers, we want breakers to be valuable because this class of breakers, the 10,000 Genesis breakers, they're on a contract that can never be added more breakers. More breakers might exist in a second class or a third class years down the line or months, wherever. But this original cast, essentially, we want it to persist as long as possible, right? And continue to reward the people that were here first. I think that's just good business, that's like a membership, quality of life thing. All that stuff is definitely in our considerations for breaker holders.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify too, because I think the spirit of the question is like you see collections where they release something, 10,000 whatever they are, zebras, right? And then they go, oh, it's the second collection of 5,000 more zebras or 10,000 more zebras, and then everything goes crazy because now there's like 10,000 more zebras added to the market, right? That's not what we're doing here. Like, there's 10,000 breakers. That's what they are right now. That's the plan, okay? The second collection is not more breakers. It is an asset that is for a game that is, as Jason alluded to, levelable upable. It is a playable thing, right? That is an NFT that will be given to people and allow listed to people and buyable. So it's a separate thing. So hopefully, I don't know what's going to happen. Of course, we don't know. No one knows. But like the idea is not like, oh, here's just more breakers to hit the market. That is not what we're doing. And to make that very clear, that I myself would be very, I'm scared of that for the other things I'm holding, because the collections when they do something like that, it's like, oh, here's more of the thing we just did, and now there's just far more supply, and then markets usually don't do too well when that happens. So just want to clarify that and giving you more clarification of what that is. If you're a Genesis breaker holder, you're a Genesis breaker holder, and that's what the story is evolving around right now. There are 10,000 breakers, Genesis breakers in the story world of DuskBreakers, and there are 10,000 NFTs in that class.
The last thing I'll add to that is, clearly, and I've alluded to this before, and it's always amongst the other arcs that we're always working on. This is holder benefits is certainly a thing that we take into consideration along the way. So, for example, a holder benefit this period will be a free claim per breaker that you own will be a free claim in the second collection, and so you should only be paying a gas fee, no cost for the NFT itself per breaker. Okay, and so one benefit. Another benefit we've had, some of the smaller benefits in the past have been if you owned a Genesis breaker via the other. When you played the mini games previously, there were some trait bonuses. Those are considerations for the future. There will be other considerations of how holders, one, stand out. Two, for example, going to NFT NYC, we're going to have a breaker-based meetup. Those are things that we would continue in other places. And again, should we do other programs in the future? This isn't a guarantee, but should we do merge? Should we, could there be discounts? And so on and so forth. Physical, digital, experiential. Those are all things that we're considering for breakers into the future as far as we can see, so that there's more than enough return on value for the initial expenditure, and then you'll have first opportunities, discounted opportunities, and so on.
Yeah, you're the privileged VIPs, essentially. I mean, first class, you got here first. If you hold, you'll benefit. All the little things that we've been sprinkling throughout, just going to be more and more as we go. So, good question there. Thank you for that one. And the inflation question, obviously, I do understand now, as far as second collections of more of the same or very close to the same, and the behavior of the markets when those things happen. We've seen other projects with that. So I understand what you mean. And this second collection will be functionally different enough that I don't see it being super huge issue. But obviously you don't know the details, and I do. So just as we go, we'll give you more details. And next question, as I continue to go down here, we only got a few left here. We'll try and get through them. Diablo of the Canada clan, one of our Vanguard in Discord, asks, will all the assets be leveled together? As in, if I have 10 assets or NFTs from the second collection, by playing one account, all my assets will be leveled at the same time? Basically, is this question, or only one of the assets? So I don't know if we're ready to reveal that. I think that there might still be a decision point.
Good question.
We are aware of it. I answered him a little bit and said that we're conscious of it, right? I have 16 breakers. If the expectation is 10 hours per breaker, then that's too much, right? We know that. So we do want to make it valuable to people to have a lot of them, or just to have one of them. We want it to be a positive experience for everybody.
Yeah, just so you know, kind of a little inside alpha, or we want to call it, from the team meetings and so forth when we talk amongst ourselves. So one thing I'm going to give a little kudos to Jason here. Jason very frequently either says it or writes it in the top of boards or meetings or Google Docs. He says, like, what do the holders get? What's the benefit of the holders? Like, he's always thinking about that, if not all day, every day. So he doesn't need to say it. I'm saying it for him. So he's thinking about you guys. So just remember, that's the first thing. The second thing with the way to that question that we are thinking about is that we kind of are looking at different types of holders, right? There's some holders that have 1. There's some holders that have 3, some holders that have 5. There's some holders like Josh that have 16. The whales out there that have, you could look on the look on the blockchain. There are a couple of people that have 100, right? And so we want to make sure that what we're designing for this experience is taking into account all of those different types of players. They're not all going to play, to be fair, and some people are just there to just hold for the long term as an asset, and that's totally cool, no problem. But we want to make sure that if someone like Joshi, who's not part of the team, or even is part of the team, wants to participate in the game experience and level up their assets, and they aren't spending 16, because they have 16 breakers, times 10 hours a week. It's not that. Just saying, but just giving an example of numbers. That's not what we want to do for you. Like, we want to reward people who are single holders. We want to reward people who are multiple holders. We want to reward people who are whales, all up the spectrum, because that's how you maintain community, and all those different types of holders are valuable to us as community members. So just want to make that clear.
We just want everyone to have fun. So making it as fun as we can. All right. Good question. Thank you for that one. And moving down a little bit more, Jedion, who I do see also listening here. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Jedion or Jedion. Safe to assume all these games are PC only, or do we maybe get our first mobile mini game? Sorry, by PC I mean web. So actually the web, I want to say people were playing on their phones on the web client for our previous builds for the classic mode and Beast Battler. But I think that the intention is web player and Windows only launcher for the moment. Still looking at Mac. Obviously we have some engineers who only have Macs even on our team. So that is always top of mind as well. But I think for this immediate mini game, expect more of the same, with the ultimate goal of the main game being cross-platform, mobile, as many places as we can possibly get it.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add there is, these things are all these. I guess the 3 major platforms for us for now: Windows, Mac, and then mobile, or in its own way. We're always considering, what's going to allow for the most players. And I was meaning to say this sort of earlier, and way above and beyond. Yes, 10,000 holders, and then beyond that, 10,000 breakers, which currently is about 3,000 holders. But we're trying to make, we make free-to-play games first and foremost. And so the idea is to have millions of players, not just thousands of players. And so over time, we will certainly expand our horizons. Again, this is where, money helps to fund development of different projects. And we will certainly be looking to maximize wherever we can be. We know mobile it's clearly been growing and growing in a variety of ways for gamers. And so we do expect there to be something there in the future. I would say, should we be successful, continue to build all sorts of experiences, games, and such that will live on mobile as well.
Yeah, so we want all of them. It's just a matter of time and dev and hiring all those engineers that I mentioned earlier. So thank you for that question. Next up, how important is the future floor price for the long-term success of the project? And that, in my opinion, is if the game is fun, it will be a successful project, and the NFTs will be ancillary. But that's just me as a gamer and a customer first. Floor price, I mean, it's going to move up and down. We mentioned earlier that it doesn't stress us at the moment. So,
yeah,
go ahead.
I think the only thing I'd say to that is that, I mean, the historical floor price of the 10,000 breakers is that we minted at 0.06 ETH. I think it peaked pre-reveal at like almost like a 0.4 at one point. This is the floor, saying the floor only. And then since reveal, it's kind of fluctuated between 0.1 something and like 0.3 something. And it's been just going back and forth. So whether that's good for you, whether you like that or not, that's up to your opinion. I'm not saying that's amazing. I'm not saying it's not amazing. But one of the things that I'm kind of grateful for so far is that we didn't like moon to like, whatever, 10 ETH or some crazy number and then, pulled back all the way to what it is now, which is like 0.2 something, right? Because then you have people holding bags, and that's just not a cool place to be feeling wise. So, but I'm not saying it's not going to happen for us in the future. I'm not saying it will, but I'm happy with what we are, and I'm happy with the journey so far. So down the road, with the floor prices of the NFTs, look, if you're looking at this as an asset, cool. Again, as I said, you're totally welcome to do that. We're a company that's building games, Web3 games, and franchises, and that's what we're doing. So the floor price will do what it'll do, and if you're happy with it, great. If you're not happy with it, sorry. But our intentions here are to build great game and interactive experiences with deep stories, and that's what we will continue to do. So thank you for supporting us.
Yeah. Okay, so it is 6:06 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to go ahead and just cut off any more questions at this point because there are still just a couple left on Discord I'd like to get to. But thanks for listening, everyone. We got just a couple more here. So Mikhail Kim was one of the first person we're on this one now. Okay. He asked those 4 questions earlier, a lot of stuff about the game, and we kind of went through them step by step, and now he has some follow-ups. Will main game be multiplayer or solo? I'm just going to say too soon. PvP in future or PvE only? Too soon. Does our breaker choice affect anything? Like some of them have higher stats or something. Maybe a wider roster is much better. So that's a question that we do have precedent for, which is JetAM actually answers them a little bit as well. And the Beast Battler traits did have some impact on gameplay. We had like more dashes, slightly higher blaster damage, stuff like that. And those are really kind of to test the use case, right? Like to make sure we even can do that and have traits affect things in the game.
I mean, you had people who were grinding in the Beast Battler that were switching their profile breakers to get the trait that would a trait that would do a certain skill set, right? Like I remember seeing that in the general chats and so forth. And I thought it was pretty cool that they were like thinking of it that way. So yeah, precedent for sure.
Yeah, and we will probably continue to do fun things as long as we can. Fairness is really kind of a big, obvious gameplay thing to build around. So when you have a bajillion different traits, fairness is something we want to kind of keep in mind. But yeah, some traits might do different stuff, different bonuses. Keep that in mind. We will have the FAQ sort of fact sheet for this next minigame next week. So if traits do anything, you will find out quite soon for that one. And good question again. Lil Yuzu, will the second collection be on Ethereum as well? This is a question that we touched on in the previous AMA 3 weeks ago and said that we are examining all chains. Ethereum does have high gas, things like that. We've seen games built on other networks quite successfully with very minimal impact on mass trades, things like that. So I'm not the engineer making that 100% decision, but it might not be Ethereum, is what I will say.
That is a good answer, Joshy.
Good. Okay.
Being also not an engineer making a decision too, and overhearing the conversations that we've been having about it, that is a solid answer. So,
yeah.
Yes.
Good question again. is there a market plan to get players who don't have an Ethereum wallet, don't know what crypto is, or don't care for NFTs? That's a tough question because obviously if we're a game company and we just say, hey, come play our game, it's not as simple as going on Steam and downloading it, right?
Well, let's throw out to Jason. I mean, the
okay.
Is there a marketing plan is the part of the question. I mean, we want players, like whether they're holding or not. We don't want to limit ourselves to 3,000 players because the 3,000 holders, right? So, but I'll throw the rest to Jason.
So the ideas will be, and we've talked about this in note like last week as well. We had meetings all week. It's very essential that one, account curation not necessarily be tied to also connecting a wallet in the future. That happen to be part of where we started, but there are considerations for the future that people can more simply create an account and just start playing. No wallet dynamics, no need to pay. There will be, the ability, like always, as we've had so far, is that all the games have been free to play, and usually the breaker or some other trait will, boost experience, allow for different experiences than what a free to play player may see. But yes, we will definitely look to increase our ability to have as many players as possible by not requiring a wallet as a gate.
Nice. Yeah, we want to cast a wide net. So I've personally taught, several of my buddies how to get a DuskBreaker NFT and MetaMask and all that stuff. Ultimately, it's not that hard. It's still pretty simple process. So I think hopefully we will be able to get some converts. If they have, fundamental issues with NFTs on the face of it, it's going to be a very difficult mountain to climb. And maybe we don't expend too much effort and energy on the people that are already biased for whatever reasons. We do want to continue to welcome the people who are curious and facilitate them as best we can. But yeah, more the merrier. I mean, we want everyone. And then I guess, that's actually kind of the last question after I said I was going to cut it off there. So last chance, let's say, for anyone on the Twitter or Discord to raise a hand for a quick cue. Looks like people have been pretty patient just listening to us here. Not really burning questions at the moment. So we talked about so much today. Really eventful AMA.
Yeah, for a community AMA, I feel like we had a lot. Like there's a lot going on. Anyway, yes. Thanks. People throwing hearts out.
The hearts. Yeah, makes us feel good here just sitting and talking for an hour. This is kind of weird without visuals, right? I'm used to Twitch from my career, but I like the podcast space is cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I'll just say, from the heart, this has been really exciting and really inspiring as we're getting now to the point where we're releasing more content, webcomics out again, just getting started. Like if you're going, it's not enough yet, we're just getting started. We're crawling, we're walking, we're running. Like that's the phase of this. Let's keep the machine going. So that part's going, and then we have this very exciting new minigame coming out. Just genuinely very, very impressed and kind of blown away by what the team has done in what is essentially quote unquote a minigame. I was like, whoa, okay, cool. All right, not to put expectations super high, but I think all three of us who are talking and who have played the game, and I know some of us in the chat, Style Piggy's has been really playing the game. Are all very, very impressed with the team and what they're putting together on something that was not generated more than a few months ago as far as an ideation of a thought. So all very, very exciting. So just wanted to say that out there, and of course, if you're coming to New York, or if you're in New York, please come to our event next Tuesday. Would love to meet you in person and have some food with us.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up then. I'll go ahead and kind of touch on a couple of things you all need to remember. Discord.gg/DuskBreakers. If you're not there yet, get there because holders will have a shot at playing the next minigame a bit earlier than the public. We've got, again, we mentioned the next NFT collection will be essentially a gamified experience, play to level, that will be a game asset. If you get in earlier, you get more benefit, so stick with us here. NFT NYC, we mentioned, that is June 21st, 6 to 8 p.m. Victor's Cafe. We'll continue posting about that as we get closer to the event. I think that's probably all the call to actions. There will be a webcomic chapter sometime soon, not 100% finished yet. Gears was part of that trip to their HQ last week, so he was being pulled in many directions. But...
And you know, the guy had some PTO this week. He had some family in town, so
yeah.
So
we'll cut him some slack.
Yeah, we'll get faster, and it's you know, I saw the lines, so it's not like he hasn't, you know, we're far away. It's like he's close. So yeah.
And finally, enter that contest. If you haven't played the classic mode scoreboard submission yet, you can find those details again in announcements on Discord or on our Twitter. Just scroll down a little ways. We've got 3 NFTs and 3 chunks of 500 USDC. Lots and lots and lots, hundreds of allow lists for participants. So the contest is what we want you to do right now to get your foot in the door. Maybe you can win a Genesis breaker, before the second collection comes out, and also get another NFT. That would be pretty sick. So thanks for all the questions. Thanks for attending. Thanks for listening. If you are listening on the VOD, thank you very much for that as well. We are, of course, recording this. It'll live on Twitter a little while, but it will be on our YouTube channel as well. We do have a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as well. You can find us via the website. I think that's it for me specifically. If you are going to NFT NYC and you tell us on Discord, that will help us. There is one guy here, Mantou, I don't know how to pronounce it, Mantou, said he's going to come. He just found out about it, and he's a breaker, so he's going to come hang out with us. So glad to see it.
Official flyer to come. You'll see it.
Yeah. Jason, any last bits before we just close the show here?
And Jason watches the Warriors.
No. I'm here still. I'm making dinner as well. I'm multitasking. That's hope everybody had a good time. Got some good information. See you also, and again in a couple of weeks with more information. And see you in Discord. Ask questions. You know, Josh and I are always popping in. Josh is in there all the time, and I try to make sure I come in and see what people are up to, what kind of questions are being asked. Because this is at the end of the day, we want you to play the games and be part of the community, and so, please throw stuff at us so that we can make sure this is the best experience for everybody.
Okay, I think that's it. Bernie, if you have any last words?
I do not.
All right. He just wants to see you in New York, so we will see you on Discord or in New York.
Or both.
Have a great rest of your week, and we will have our next AMA scheduled for Thursday, June 30th. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody.